The Artists in Community program was part of the Artists in Residency program. It had artists in communities, artists in social institutions, and artists in schools. The way the program worked was an artist and an organization applied together to support that artist. So the merit of the artist won or eliminated the grant or the potential for having a grant. The artist at that time, it's really interesting because at that time we were providing jobs for artists. However, the legislature did not want to hear that we were providing jobs for artists. So it was services to the community. The program, the artist and the organization came together. The artist would be responsible for 20 hours of work a week with 5 hours prep time. So basically 15 hours direct contact, allowing them the other 20 hours to do their artwork. The compensation was enough that they could do their artwork and provide services to community. But at the time, we couldn't market it as jobs.
Why?
Because the legislature didn't want us providing jobs for artists. The legislature at that time was not interested in artist employment. It was a different focus altogether. It was interesting because years later, everything focused on jobs and jobs and jobs. And here's a program that we were doing that and we couldn't even talk about it. Maxine Waters, who was a legislator at the time, now of course she's a congresswoman, questioned the California Arts Council's budget. And she wanted to know how much money was going to artists of color. And we did this analysis and it wasn't much. And so she mandated that we institute at least 50% of our funding that was going to large budget organizations in our organizational support program to go to artists of colors or to impact diversity. So with that program, what we did was we created a number of efforts in the agency, but the Multicultural Arts Development Program looked at seed money for collectives, artist collectives, and small, tiny budget nonprofit organizations of color. The diversity was there, LGBTQ, representative, rural, urban, suburban, and we created 3 components of the program. We created the Multicultural Entry Program, we created the Multicultural Advancement Program, and we created Multicultural Development. And development was internships in the agency and also any kind of technical assistance that we could provide. The entry program was the critical program, and I think that program is still needed today. What it did is it looked at these artist collectives and these small budget organizations and allowed them to apply for funding cross-discipline. And the recommendation was a 3-year grant program. First year was no match, second year was a quarter match, and the third year was a 50% match. And then they could reapply again, starting with a 50% match, a 75% match, and finally up to 100% match. So it grew organizations. In that process, we also provided the technical assistance, which was part of the multicultural, development. We provided workshops, we provided resources for training, and we also integrated them with the Artists in Communities program statewide. So in this process, those organizations started to grow. A prime example would be Brava in San Francisco, came out of multicultural entry. Arte Americas down in the Central Valley, Fresno. Both of those organizations grew. And then once they were at a dollar for dollar match, then we encouraged them to apply for the for the organizational support program. This helped these organizations develop. We are not like any other state agency. Our field, our infrastructure is weak. All other state agencies, they can allocate to the different counties because those infrastructures are strong, are solid. I mean, look at Caltrans. Caltrans has 11 different districts with each has its own district director. Look at the field of health. You have the county health advisors that, all of their infrastructure as well. We don't have that.